we're seeing some common drivers related to the use of technology. Some technologies have been around for a while, some are emerging. This includes really drivers related to having more open and integrated systems across the enterprise, across the various functional areas that enables better information sharing, as well as enabling data-driven decisions as opposed to more human-based decisions. Also, we're seeing a lot more purpose-built solutions come forward, primarily cloud-based, but not all the time, sometimes hybrid. But in that, they are pre-configured and validation ready, which is really helping drive down the total cost of ownership and make the implementations more streamlined. Renee teed up traceability. We're certainly seeing that come about in a lot of our solutions or needs for solutions where not just traceability from the engineering through to product development, but as we're talking about today, in the content realm where having requirements around the content being stored and managed more formally in a requirements management system, and those requirements could be ISO standards related to content, such as, I'll pick up labeling as an example here, but having those ISO standards captured, having different global health authority standards captured for the different med device types, as well as internal standards that are driven by the company, be it styling or other standards they want to put in place to ensure the high quality of their content. So now you have the requirements captured, and now being able to link those to the actual labeling content components that would reside in a PLM system such as Windchill, so that you have the ability, as either side changes, be it requirements or content, a lot quicker impact assessments can be performed to identify if an ISO standard is changing or a global health authority regulation is changing, what labeling content may be potentially impacted by that, right, and vice versa. Certainly, we're seeing the need for end consumers, be it the healthcare professionals, the caregivers, or patients. They're expecting similar digital experiences from the MedTech companies as they're used to getting on their other mobile apps or online portals, right? So continuing to look for those innovative ways to get that personalized content delivered to the end consumer as quickly and as effectively as possible, be it on the device itself or possibly using things such as QR codes or barcodes that could take them directly to the information that they're looking for. Right. And certainly, as I mentioned, we're seeing emerging technologies continuing to be used across the industry. I think the key thing is for each organization to determine how best and how effectively they can leverage these to support their specific needs. I'd like to pull out an example. So I mentioned labeling content. Since we're talking more around documentation systems today, I figured just pulling together a slide that shows different disparate systems that may be used to support the creation, management, and delivery of labeling content in this case. So on the left-hand side, we have tools such as ArborText Editor, ArborText Web Editor, and Reviewer that can be used to create and review those structured content components that might ultimately end up in marketing material, in package artwork, in instructions for use, or other labeling-related content, all that being stored in Windchill. And we'll talk about, from a structured content perspective, stored in Windchill in components. So not necessarily having to manage entire documents themselves, but reusable pieces, in this case of labeling content, that can be used across different outputs, right, in different formats of that output. As we move over towards the right, then we have the ability to take information out of Windchill and publish that, let's say, to PDFs, be it the package inserts, be it the instructions for use, the patient leaflets, HTML, PDF, or other formats. It could be shared to downstream systems that then use that labeling content. Could be pushing, if you're using electronic instructions for use, pulling that information automatically out of Windchill upon approval of that instructions for use and pushing it to an EIFU such as that from Oberon's Titania EIFU product. And then finally, one more area that we'll call just to show different uses of systems is where you might have your label management system that at point of applying the label is affixing a QR code on that package so that when the healthcare professional or the patient gets that package, they can scan that QR code and it takes them directly to an IFU, for instance, so that they can get the specific personalized information that they need at the time that they need it. So with the focus of today's presentation being on documentation solutions, again, trying to hone in on where we're seeing various benefits recognized by our customers and other MedTech industry professionals. And these are in areas such as increased collaboration. So as Renee mentioned, having centralized sources of trusted content, right? Be it in Windchill, for instance, having everyone be able to go in and access that content, identify where content is approved or work in progress, being able to assemble that different content for different outputs. Right? It includes certainly the one area that we've seen many of our customers really justify a lot of their projects is in the translation cost savings. Right? And again, this is where taking structured content and managing your information at a smaller level than the document so that when you do need to make updates, the updates are only made on those smaller pieces. And then those updates get reviewed as well as translated. So you cut down on not just the translation costs, but the review costs and the overall production and layout costs that go into creating these various outputs. One of the other areas of benefits through the use of structured content and managing information at reusable components is a reduction in the content production costs, right? So this is where you're able to remove a lot of the desktop publishing time and effort that goes into normal layout or heavy layout intensive outputs. But by using structured content, you're able to assemble all those reusable pieces together and automatically apply styling to create the outputs in consistent formats. Additionally, we see opportunities for increased customer satisfaction through quicker delivery of more accurate information out to the devices that the end consumers are demanding that the information be delivered on. And then finally, opportunities to improve regulatory compliance through areas such as traceability,